So we got all the parts cut, except these back base tubes. We're waiting after we get the first frame assembled. We got the front of it assembled. So we're going to go in here. This is the front frame. We're using the mismatched, ugly connections. Some of these were strengthened by that JB Weld. And the same way we did the small scale assembly. All the parts are the same. We'll have to measure the distance between the bolt holes to make sure these are the proper distance apart to mount the motor. These are the 8-inch side tubes. We've cut everything, we've drilled all the bolt holes. 8-inch side tubes go in here, and some of these still have the wrap for the fiber roll, still have that on there. So we want to get that on first so we can slide these into place. Now we need this on. I'm just making sure it's all the way down. There we go. It's like that doesn't look right. All right, so now we've got that on. We need this to make sure that these back frame tubes are bent properly. I've got to make sure it'll go all the way through there. We may have had some resin get in. All right, so we're going to go all the way down here and right there. Take that back out, and I'm going to bend that a little bit more. Got to be careful how much I bend it next now. So last time it was really difficult. That slid in perfectly. So we'll be able to use these as a bend gauge next time. Now that we know what the bend is. Now I don't want to force on that without supporting it right now because these are not going to be our full scale connections. These are not going to be our permanent connections, I should say. We just use this to kind of test material, test full scale assembly. There, that one didn't slide in as good because I bent it a little bit too much. But now we know what to cut off. So I'm going to do these one at a time. I'm going to mark the area I need to cut, and we'll go get those cut. So I'm going to go ahead and mark around that. And then we'll take these out and cut them. Okay, so we've got the back frame tube on. Let's go ahead and stand it up and force these in. And that goes all the way to the edge based on assembly inside of Onshape. Force those in there. And that's where our spar hoop connection goes. Let's do the other one. And this thing will balance better when I cut that other tube. I actually cut it a little too long and get that, but we might be able to just play it by ear. We don't have a long enough hoop segment, and it fits. It's okay. We could actually go a little bit longer. I think that's going to be really good. So I don't think I want to make any more adjustments there. So we're mounting the engine to the frame right now. We took some of those hoop segments back off. I just want to make, so we're going to get the engine mounted. Now, what you'll notice is I had to push these in further, and that may be the correct length in the design. I'll just have to measure that distance. I'm going to cut these off without having to take them back out. So it puts these at the correct height and angle, which they were up a little bit. When we put that hoop segment in, it's supposed to be 35.4. These are 36 inches. I think we can get it to fit in as is. All right, so I put this back in the bender. I actually went past that 53-inch mark and put more of a bend in this because I wanted it, once you inserted it, to come up fairly even with that. I don't know if we'll be able to get that in directly if this is, oh, yep, there we go. So that'll work. So we had the 36, you can get those at Home Depot. And 48 is going to be too long, but I bent this based on my 53-inch. It looks like it's bent a little too much, but I don't mind having a little tension in this once we get it mounted. And we'll adjust. Before we rivet anything or bolt anything in, I want to get everything assembled. So with my arc length formula that I plugged in, it said this one should be 35.4, for a 90-degree bend. We didn't cut that at all, and if that's 90 degrees there, it should be accurate. That's where we should be at. Somewhere right. So that should be set at 30 degrees. Watch out. So we'll go a little bit more than we should have. So we'll go 3 inches. We're going to cut off that 48. That's going to put us at 45 inches of material. We'll go into this one first. Come over here. We'll try to keep that angle. All right, so probably what I'm going to have to do is take this off. I'm still trying to figure out the assembly process, like how things need to be assembled together. What method puts the least amount of stress on all these parts when you're assembling them? They're going to have some stress. All right, good. The bottom hoop segment I can run out to Home Depot and get that 36-inch one, but these longer ones I have to order or go to a metal supply company. Top segment in, and let's measure the distance we want to cut that at. Where does 3 inches put us? Let's go 3 inches. All right, this is with the 3 inches. If we needed to, we can adjust here and not insert it so far, but I don't think we're going to. I don't think we're going to have to. I think we'll be able to, yes, perfect. And that kind of locks our angle in. We can look at that. And now it doesn't want to move, right? I mean, it might move a little bit. We need to make sure we have clearance for that propeller. That's not going to come anywhere near there. We need at least 7 centimeters of clearance. Throw that on there real quick just to look. Oh man, okay. So the engine, we may have to make a mounting system to bring the engine down some. Look how far that propeller is from the ground. So the engine is mounted way too high. We're gonna bring it down some. And that should line up. We may have to move the swing arms too, because we want those in line with wherever the engine's mounted. Look, we want that thrust line to go right through those carabiners. All right, we're not far from putting everything together. We just got to clean up everything. We're going to chop these bits off. Adding that mounting bracket, actually lowering the engine and adding this bracket in, that gave us about a 1/2 inch clearance. So now the muffler is not right up against the frame, and the air filter, when we put it on, won't be right up against the frame. It gave us enough clearance for the pull start, so we'll mount that somewhere, probably somewhere over on the left-hand side. Yeah, I think that'll be good. And we'll start putting rivets in, so we're going to drill the holes. So we definitely want rivets here, rivets here, rivets here. We're going to have to move this support tube up and down. Once we move the gas tank over, we'll figure out where it goes best. And then other than that, we throw the harness on, put the prop on. Probably not going to do a net right away. Got the gas tank installed. I'll probably create a backup. So that's just a strap that kind of spreads out in a Y, comes back to a single point, straps around, and Velcros down. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in real quick. So this will be the final rivet. And then once we get that in, I'm gonna put some washers up here on these swing arms before I put the harness on. All right, so we're gonna do our first crank of this. Just making sure the throttle's not hung up. So that should be choked. We're getting fuel up through there. We should be. Should have enough fuel in there. Yeah. All right, there we go. So that's good. All right. Let it warm up. All right, so that was choke. I turned off the choke. pretty good. You got to find our hang point, put our carabiner on there, but I wanted to shorten the swing arms because that is super long. And it's kind of stretching that part of the harness. And it really shouldn't do that. So we're going to cut off a portion of that. We're going to go measure some of our other swing arms that were successful. But yeah, everything else looks pretty good.